American B-17 bombers faced a terrifying onslaught from over 150 determined German fighters.
The date is July 26, 1943, inside the cramped cockpit of the B-17 WWII.
At the controls are Copilot Second Lieutenant John Morgan, alongside his friend, Captain Robert Campbell.
They fly within a massive formation of 120 bombers, heading toward targets deep inside Germany.
But shortly after crossing the North Sea, Copilot Morgan spots fast-approaching enemy aircraft up ahead.
Bandits, 12 o'clock high. A lot of them.
An overwhelming force swarms toward the bomber formation, numbering over 150 German fighters.
The crew is alerted over the intercom to prepare for the imminent, overwhelming, and ferocious aerial assault.
Engineer Staff Sergeant Tyree Weaver quickly climbs into the top turret and carefully lines up his guns.
The enemy fighters fly straight and level, utilizing a tactic to minimize exposure to the bomber's guns.
From the cheek gun, Second Lieutenant Keith Koski shouts out the updated enemy position. Bandits, 1 o'clock level.
Koski becomes the very first gunner in the crew to open fire on the rapidly approaching attackers.
Focke-Wulf 190s unleash cannons and machine guns, sending shells streaking directly toward the WWII's cockpit.
Morgan instinctively flinches as the devastating enemy fire violently crashes into his co-pilot position. Sergeant Weaver cries out in agony as a 20mm shell strikes him hard on the left shoulder.
Tragically, a single projectile finds its mark, striking Captain Campbell directly in the head area.
The W190s roar past the battered B-17, peppering the fuselage with cannon shells and bullets.
The crew must react instantly, urging their defenses to respond faster to the relentless enemy attack.
The entire bomber formation erupts to life, gunners tracking and firing at the passing German fighters. On the flight deck, Morgan is stalled, taking in the shocking devastation inside the damaged cockpit.
He sees his captain slumped in the seat, suffering from a severe and critical head wound. Lieutenant Morgan realizes he is on his own. The responsibility to get the crew home is his.
The intercom crackles with panicked questions. Have we been hit? There are simply too many of them. The captain is hit, but I have got this. Hold your positions.
He determinedly grips the controls, skillfully maneuvering the damaged flying fortress back into formation.
Robert Campbell is still alive. Morgan is suddenly shocked as the yoke moves unexpectedly in his hands.
He fights to regain control of the aircraft and looks over in disbelief at his wounded captain.
Incredibly, despite the severe head wound, Campbell is sitting straight, actively maneuvering the aircraft.
As fighters approach, Campbell inexplicably banks the fortress hard to the right.
This is the opposite of the correct defensive maneuver. It pushes them further from the formation.
Bob, what are you doing? Keep formation. We are dead if we're on our own. Captain Campbell does not reply to the urgent plea. Instead, he continues flying the plane erratically.
The captain has suffered severe brain trauma. His injury is critical, and he is bleeding profusely.
In his current state, he does not hear Morgan's desperate commands. Bob, hold the formation!
More Bf-109s roar over the B-17. Campbell throws the plane into another aggressive, dangerous maneuver.
In the waist, gunners hold on tightly as spent shell casings roll across the vibrating floor.
The gunners are confused by the pilot's erratic flying, shouting, What is going on up there?
With colossal effort, they get guns on target, exclaiming, "They are fast!" and firing relentlessly.
A gunner confirms a successful strike against the enemy.
Come on, come on! Yes, he's hit!
In the nose, Kosuke holds down his trigger as targets approach from every direction imaginable.
Suddenly, Kosuke sees the wounded top turret gunner, Tyree Weaver, fall and collapse on the floor.
Seeing his crewmate down, Second Lieutenant Kosuke immediately abandons his post and rushes to Weaver's aid.
Sergeant Weaver knows it too. He is incredibly weak and suffering from severe, agonizing pain.
Weaver manages to catch Kosuke's attention, pointing first at himself, and then toward the escape hatch.
The message is clear. He wants to bail out.
Kosuke is torn by the impossible decision.
Even if Weaver survives the jump, capture by the Germans might still lead to his eventual death.
Kosuke quickly realizes that bailing out, however risky, remains Sergeant Weaver's only chance for survival.
The intercom erupts again. 9 o'clock low, fighters. I can't see them, they are just too fast.
Outside, the mayhem continues as machine guns chatter while enemy fighters pass at incredible speeds.
More of them coming in, 3 o'clock high! A BF-109 fires a burst of shells that rake across the length of the Ruthie 2nd.
The resulting damage is catastrophic, completely taking out the intercom system for the entire aircraft.
But even worse, the vital oxygen supply for the rear half of the plane is punctured.
In the cockpit, Morgan is still wrestling with the controls, fighting to keep the B-17 in formation. He is desperately attempting to counteract Captain Campbell's erratic inputs, shouting,
Bob, hold the formation!
But the desperate struggle is not working. The plane is falling further out of the protective formation.
Morgan feels the immense weight of command. He must get his wounded captain off the flight controls.
The situation escalates as Morgan reaches over to the wounded captain to pull him away from the yoke.
With one hand, the injured captain makes a fist and punches his co-pilot, John Morgan, in the face.
Robert, please, stop this now!
Robert Campbell, suffering from severe trauma, does not comprehend what is actually happening around him.
On some deep level, his injured brain believes he is still in command, fighting for his crew.
With intense fury, he repeatedly punches Morgan, landing a flurry of blows to his head and torso.
Morgan shouts, "Robert, please, let me have control!"
But Captain Campbell remains completely undeterred.
He lands another punch near Morgan's eye, followed by a shocking, hard punch to the jaw.
Morgan is forced to cover his head, leaning as far away from Captain Campbell as he can.
But then Morgan sees that, in his anger, Campbell has momentarily stopped working the flight controls.
Pushing through the pain, Morgan grips the yoke, maneuvering the aircraft back toward the formation.
Meanwhile, in the nose, Kosuke finishes tightening the parachute harness on Sergeant Weaver, who is fading.
Kosuke pushes open the escape hatch and is immediately blasted by the frigid, high-altitude air.
Looking down thousands of feet, Kosuke can see a German city clearly visible in the distance.
But, barely conscious, Weaver accidentally pulls the cord too early, the chute flopping onto the floor.
Kosuke is mortified. Weaver must land near the city, or his slim chances will be gone.
No.
Completely out of time, Kosuke gathers the parachute, jams it under Weaver's arm, and pushes him out. Kosuke watches him fall, praying the makeshift deployment works, and that his friend will somehow be saved.
In the rear, the gunners still fight, but the damaged, leaking oxygen tanks are running out.
They feel the early symptoms of hypoxia, slow decision-making, inaccurate shots, and extreme drowsiness.
What's happening? One asks. It's the oxygen! We must descend! We lost the oxygen supply! But with the intercom system completely destroyed, there is no hope of the men being heard.
Their vision blurs and their balance wanes, but they stay, firing at blurry enemy aircraft.
The lack of oxygen is too much, and one by one, the rear gunners collapse, unconscious.
Everyone behind the bomb bay is unconscious, except the ball turret gunner, who continues to fight.
He remains unaware of the crisis, yelling defiance at the enemy as he continues to fire.
The Germans empty their last ammunition, and the B-17 shudders as the fighters finally break off.
The aerial attack has paused, but in the cockpit, the desperate physical battle for control continues.
Morgan strikes back, not to injure, but attempting to restrain Captain Campbell's flailing arms. He fails to restrain him, and Campbell lands a solid, hard punch directly into Morgan's mouth.
Morgan feels something loose in his mouth and spits. He is horrified to see it is a tooth.
He cannot keep flying the bomber like this. He knows he needs to end the fight.
Redoubling his efforts, Morgan reaches for Campbell and grabs onto his vital oxygen mask, ready to pull. But he hesitates. Morgan holds the mask, desperately weighing the life and death options before him.
If he rips it off, the fight ends, saving the crew. But his friend, the captain, could die.
The decision is taken from him as Campbell shoves Morgan's arm away and continues the assault. As the two men fight over the controls, the B-17 wobbles dangerously and drifts off course.
A moment of hope. He might just be able to get everyone home safely after all.
But as he levels the B-17, black puffs erupt in the sky. They have reached the target.
Explosions rock the formation. Hot shrapnel rips at the fortresses as they get closer to the target.
Morgan feels the Ruthie Coop get buffeted by concussion waves and shrapnel slamming into the fuselage.
All the while, Captain Campbell is still struggling, but Morgan keeps him pinned down with one arm. Just as he thinks it cannot get any worse, he spots more German aircraft approaching them.
Bandits! 8 o'clock high!
He reports, having no idea that the intercom system is dead.
He watches in horror as enemy fighters brave their own flak, screaming in from the left.
The fighters' guns light up. Morgan feels even more impact striking his battered flying fortress.
Hits punch through the wings, piercing a fuel tank, which leaks gasoline near the hot engines.
The drop target is approaching, but without the intercom, there is no way to signal the bombardier. But the bombardier is ready.
Intercom is out, but I am dropping these bombs on the target.
He cannot control the plane, but he watches the target below and releases the bombs anyway.
The bombardier manually triggers the release, signaling to himself that the bombs are away and on target.
In the cockpit, Morgan feels the B-17 lighten and rise as the heavy bomb load is released.
Unbelievably, despite the chaos, they achieve their mission objective. The B-17s turn for home.
Morgan is amazed the plane is still flying, but the WWII faithfully answers his controls.
German aircraft chase the formation, harassing them and shooting at the fortresses from the rear.
Without conscious rear gunners, the WWII is blasted by enemy fire without any return defense.
Where is everyone?
But he cannot leave Campbell, or anyone else who might still be on board, behind enemy lines.
The German fighters finally turn away, their relentless assault ending as they run out of ammunition.
The remaining conscious gunners in the ball turret and nose stay on high alert for another hour.
Until, finally, the beautiful, welcoming sight of the English Channel comes clearly into view.
The relief is palpable, a shared feeling among the conscious crew. We are going to make it.
The battle is over. Kosuke calms himself before deciding to check on the pilots up front. He is not prepared for what he sees. The flight deck is a scene of utter destruction.
Morgan quickly explains the terrifying struggle for control, and Kosuke listens, completely incredulous.
To land, Morgan must take the pilot's seat. Help me get Campbell off his seat, he orders. They begin to move Captain Campbell. He weakly resists, but he is too weak to stop them.
Working carefully in the cramped space, it takes the two men half an hour to move him.
Morgan is now in a desperate race against time if he is going to save his friend's life.
He takes the controls, descends to a lower altitude, and aims for the closest friendly airbase. By descending early, the air becomes thick and breathable, no longer requiring oxygen masks.
And so, unbeknownst to Morgan, in the back of the plane, a small miracle takes place.
Despite 2 hours without oxygen, all 4 of the unconscious men in the rear slowly stir awake. Apart from severe frostbite from the extreme freezing cold, the men are surprisingly unharmed.
3 hours after the mission began, Morgan brings the battered WWII safely back to England. He has heroically saved the lives of everyone on board the aircraft, with only one exception.
Tragically, Captain Robert Campbell succumbed to his severe injuries just 1 hour after landing.
Incredibly, Staff Sergeant Tyree Weaver, the gunner who bailed out, also managed to survive the ordeal.
Thanks to Kosuke's quick thinking, Weaver received medical attention upon landing and became a prisoner of war.
Sergeant Weaver survived the war, was eventually repatriated, and lived a long life to the age of 74.
For his unwavering determination and heroism, John Morgan earned the prestigious Medal of Honor for his actions.
Did you hear about the B-17 tail that landed with the gunner trapped inside? Watch this film.